Hey Royals, welcome to our team kit class for September. I'll be using the Pretty Pumpkin stamp set with the detailed pumpkin dies. Some of you have ordered this kit and I should have it in your hands and can either stamp along with me or to watch us on the replay. Go ahead and hold while I flip and I'll get started. 1 second, there we go. Okay, let's see how that looks. Everyone can see everything okay. You just adjust it just a little bit. Always worry about what you can and can't see, making sure we're not gonna fall over. All right, welcome to our team kit class for September. Like I said, some of you have went ahead and purchased this month's kit, which I love, and I love for you to use this kit and case everything completely and share with those that you love to stamp with as well. Let me show you each card, and then I'll show you the supplies that I use to help build your kits today. All right, let me go with our easiest one probably first. It says really fun card using both of these dies and just a little bit of stamping and some stamping for the background. Then I have this fun fold I'll show you today, which has a hangover, is what I like to call it, where this DSP right here will open up and then we open it again to the inside, and that just hangs over from the inside there. It's a really fun fold and easy card to make. And then we also have this gorgeous one. This is one of my favorites, and I'm using the Harvest Nature DSP, I think is what that one's called for these cards here. Just some really great paper. And then open up to the inside for a place to write. And the last card I'll show you how to make today is this one. It has all the details. This has the ribbon, it has some fussy cutting, some awesome dies we've used, even some sponging. All right, let me go ahead and put this in the view so you can see where we're starting. And I might go ahead and turn on a light. Hopefully we don't create too many shadows. Hold real quick. Let's see how shadowy. That's not too bad. You can kind of see my hand shadows. We'll give it a try. I just want to make sure you guys can see this clearly. And sometimes I have great lighting in this room and other days not so much. So bear with me as we figure out the best view for you guys. All right. Let's go ahead and show you this one. This one has the mint macaroon card base, which isn't actually a color scheme part of the paper, but it matches so well that I thought we would love to use it for this one. And who doesn't love like a soft teal looking pumpkin, right? All right, so all your supplies, grab them out. Of course, I will have a link to my blog later on for you to reference this for all of the supplies that I've used and also measurements. However, I jumped ahead too quick. Let me show you the items I'm using. All right, so let's talk about our embossing folders. I'm using the Time Warm, I always say it wrong, Time Warm. A new embossing folder. This one right here that has this great detail. Almost looks like words, but it's kind of like jibble jabble. It's a great background texture that I've used for some of our cards. And then I have this our other one here that's more of a wood grain to it. I think this one's called Timber, but I'll double check. And of course, our stamp set, the Pretty Pumpkins, which has all these stamped images, and we'll be using a handful of these ones today. And the main star, in my opinion, to this kit are these dies, the detailed pumpkin dies. They are amazing, and I use them in almost every single one of these cards today, just because it makes it great for using kits, and they're just so nice that they do so much of the work for you. Even this one right there. Okay. I'm going to set that aside, and now we'll officially start stamping. Grab that card base out, and let's grab our Just Jade ink. Open that up, and we're going to stamp a background. So in this stamp set, there is this really cool looking pumpkin vine. If you've ever seen pumpkins grow out in the wild, out in a field, you'll know that these leaves are huge, the blossoms are huge, and the vine takes over the whole area. And so I thought that was fun that they included that image for this stamp set. It is a very big part of pumpkins and how they grow. So I'm just going to stamp randomly. We're going to cover most of the front. So you just want to have things along this edge here that'll kind of peekaboo through the sides. And I sent your cards to you folded, but I like to lay mine flat for easier stamping. So open it up however works best for you. We'll do it like a little curl right there. We'll flip this around and get some corner images. Just really random. And unless you knew what this image was, you probably can't even tell what it is unless you've seen the stamp set. Or if you know pumpkins really well too. We'll do one more right there. Okay. Looks pretty good. Oh, let's keep this ink out because we're going to stamp our saying on our basic white here. And I have the So Thankful For You is the stamp for this one in the top right corner of your basic white. Line that up so it's fairly straight on. Press down. Perfect. That turned out great. Okay, now we can put that one away. And let's grab our mat here. As you can see, your mat probably has a hole just like mine. I like to save on paper, and so these are one of my tricks that I like to use is that I will attach this mat and it will be awesome because you'll never know that there's a giant hole missing, and that's where I got our pumpkin from here. Let's grab our adhesive and we can attach this. I've been using a lot of our seal lately, so I'm going to do a little bit on here. Make sure you get your corners. Don't worry about that center spot because you know that is going to have the hole. And just line that up carefully. Awesome. Okay, next we have our two pumpkins. I have one in the soft seafoam. Love that one. That's the super detailed one. And then I have this one here. And when you die cut it out, you can see that it sometimes leaves like those, I'm going to call them smiley lines right here. And just use your paper snips to help press them out. I've gone ahead and I have embossed this one with that awesome wood grain. I think, like I said, I think it's called Timber Embossing Folder. It just gives a little bit of extra detail. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to grab my silicone mat. If you have liquid glue or the fine tip glue pen, this would be a great thing to use for this detailed one because it's so holy. It's kind of hard to add adhesive to sometimes. So what I've done in the past is you can go ahead and use your seal and just go over it, and it kind of makes like a spider web look to it. You don't need too much, just a little bit here and there to make sure it lays down. Or use your liquid glue. I am on a liquid glue shortage right now. I have an order that's coming in. It said it was supposed to be here tonight, but now it won't be here till tomorrow. Oh, and so I have like literally drops left of my favorite liquid glue, which is the worst when you're using it all the time. All right, for this little guy, flip him over and put some mini dimensionals I feel work the best for this pumpkin. Do at least 3 of them on there. You can probably get some on almost all of these pumpkin lines. And we'll flip it over. Make sure all the backings are off. There we go. And attach that just a little bit below our pumpkin we just put on. And now we can attach this to the front of our card base using dimensionals as well. If you have your mini ones nearby, or if you have your bigger ones, it's up to you, your preference. I feel like the mini ones don't go nearly as high. They're just a little bit flatter, and so a lot of times I'll use these larger ones when I really want something to pop up off of the card. So this is our easiest one. It's pretty basic, and our last detail is just to embellish it with those cute knot bows. In your kit, I've actually sent you 2 of them. I'm going to do one for you today. I ran out of this ribbon, and it's on my list also to be coming in. It is so fun. It's like a gingham, and it's the Just Shade, and it's part of a combo pack. So it comes with a Misty Moonlight twine as well. It is one of my favorite ribbons, as you could tell, and that's why I'm already out of it. So just put your knot to the glue dot and pinch it off, and you can put them on both. I'm gonna go ahead and put it only on this top one right now. Cute. And then grab your bone folder, make sure your card's nice and creased. And that's our super simple one, using those dies and just doing some background stamping for that one. Love it, love it. It's a great starter card. All right, let's go on to our next one, which is more of a fun fold, and it has a little bit more pieces to it. We'll grab all of our pieces out. And it's our crumb cake card base, so the one that I'm using. And we have some basic white for the inside. This is my embossed bumblebee that we're gonna put on the front. Look at that texture, isn't that amazing? Just love that. Bumblebee is not my favorite shade of yellow, but it works really great for these fall colors and cards. So I love it on here. And then I have, again, these, the detailed pumpkins have been die cut out. And you can see sometimes little pieces will get stuck in there. Just take your paper snips and continue pressing it through, and you should be good to go. They come out really easily, and I like to usually send them attached still so that way they give it a little stability, because this piece of paper is really fragile. This one's a little bit more sturdy, has some more thickness to it, the pumpkin itself, and to the type of paper we're using. This is the Celebrations Bedazzling paper that you can get for free when you order $50, and it is just that dazzling. Look how gorgeous that shines. So this is a fun pumpkin to make with that one. And then I have some linen thread, is my favorite embellishment to use. So we of course are attaching that one on today's card. And let me get this card in view so you can actually see what it looks like again. Sorry about that. I usually like to have it right there in that top corner. Okay, for your DSP here, you'll see that I have went ahead and I've die cut and embossed with the Stitch with Whimsy. It's kind of tricky. It doesn't actually cut the paper like you would cut out an image, but it leaves this awesome track of stitching. And so that's what we're using for this one, and just adds a little bit of detail to it. It's not super noticeable unless you look closely. All right, I'm grabbing my Misty Moonlight for my ink and my Gather Together stamp. This is a great Thanksgiving card, because that's what we like to do at Thanksgiving, is gather together. I'm gonna go ahead just above where that stitching is right here, and on the bottom of this DSP. Awesome. And then we can close up that Misty Moonlight. Set it aside. All right, let's go ahead and start attaching, and then I will attach our pumpkins at the very end to the front. So what we need to do is go ahead and grab this one here, and we're going to attach it to our crumb cake card base. And let's see how much liquid glue I have left in here. Oh, just a little bit. Awesome. Liquid glue is what I recommend when you're doing embossing folders, just because they are bumpy and sometimes the seal adhesive doesn't run as smoothly on there. Okay, so there is that one. Now what we need to do is make this hang over. So what I like to do first is go ahead and line it up where I want it to be. And I have it nicely scored here at the top so it hangs really nicely. Let's go ahead and open this one up. And then we'll put adhesive on the back of this DSP here. And if you want it to be really strong, you can use your Seal Plus, or if you just want liquid glue, just make sure you give yourself some time to let it dry. Okay, then we're gonna flip it back over without pressing it down yet, and just make sure it looks like it's centered. So I'm gonna keep it open and just shimmy it to one side. Looks like it's about center. And then we'll close this on it and let that adhesive pick it up on the back side there. Okay, so now we'll flip it open, And we're gonna cover up this with our basic white. So we'll just line it up like this and put it on the back. Just like that. Perfect. And these type of hangover cards, I made it go all the way down the front, but you can even make it shorter and cut it into a different length. So this is another example of this style of card. My friend Paula Skeen made this one where it flaps open and it has it in there. Love that. So this one's a very adjustable to fit the needs of the paper you're using or the style that you want it to look to. All right, all we have to do now is attach these fun items. Again, I'm gonna grab my silicone mat out. I'm gonna use my seal and just go over some of these pieces here. Mostly the outside outlines. If we have those with adhesive, then the rest will stick. Okay, we'll attach this right about there. And let's grab our awesome bedazzling one, and we are going to use dimensionals again on the back of this one. You will notice a theme with these pumpkins and myself is that I love popping them up with the dimensionals. Flip it over and attach it. And last, I created a little linen thread bow. We're going to use our glue dot to attach that. I'll take our knot to the dot, pinch it, and put it on the top of that one. Super cute. See, this one wasn't as hard, and look at that awesome fun fold we just made. Love, love it. All right, we'll go on to our next one. Again, increasing with difficulty as we keep on going. We're just kind of building on that. We are going to make this one here. This one is another fun fold style because we're missing a chunk of paper right here. It has that DSP is on the inside of our card, which considers it fun because it's not our usual fun or normal fold, right? Okay, so there's those pieces. This is the Misty Moonlight card base. So your kit would look like this. And you're noticing that's missing, if I remember right, it's about 1.25 inches for, let's see, we'll go right there. Yep, an 1.5 inches is what we've cut off here. I mean, you're full of all these pieces. You can already tell that it's increased its difficulty just by the amount of layers that we are adding. All right, and you'll notice I did that same trick where I've die cut out this part with our Tasteful Label dies from the center of our bumblebee here. And then I also have this one from our Tasteful Labels, our gold pumpkin, which is different than that bedazzling, but just as pretty. And then we have our Cajun Craze pumpkin here, which if you know me, this is also not a favorite color of mine, but I really like it for the fall, so it works. It works for this card, and it matches our DSP really well. Okay, so lots of pieces here. I think we almost have most of them put where we need, and what we need to do is stamp this piece here, our label. Let's go ahead and grab our first is the soft seafoam ink. This is also a color that's in the DSP. I think it is. Oh, actually this one's not in it, but I just really like this light shade of green. And we're gonna grab our big 3 pumpkins. These ones, I really wanted to send this to you in the kit somehow, and I just couldn't figure out how to get it sent and cut out and make it look nice. And so we're just gonna use this one as a background for our label here. It's not gonna fit completely on there, and that's fine. You just wanna have it on that right side, and it has, like I said, a background. And make sure you have at least all 3 of your pumpkins in that one. Super easy. So we'll put that one away, and let's grab our Misty Moonlight out again. Grab that ink, and we need the Friends Were Pumpkins, I Pick You stamp. I just love the saying. Usually you hear the saying with like flowers. If friends were flowers, I pick you. But pumpkins is pretty awesome too. I love that. Okay, we have all of our pieces here. We'll go ahead and ink this up. I like to look at it, make sure I don't have any halos. Looks good. And stamp it. Oh, that one turned out awesome. Love it. Put your ink away. Maybe sometimes, there we go. You push and pull when they're tight like that. Okay, the rest is just assembling. So what we're gonna do first is go ahead and attach this little piece here. It's just a tiny little piece. It's of that Cajun Craze, and we're gonna add it to the end of here. It's gonna help bridge the gap between our DSP from our card front. So this is a great little piece here. Just put a little bit of liquid glue, if you can. There we go. And open up this. So you just have that one side, and we're gonna slide it under. And depending on how thick you want it to be, will determine how much you want it to show. So that looks pretty good to me. Just the tiniest little layer. So you can get that to focus. There we go. Next, we can go ahead and add our DSP to the very end of the inside corner. And line that up based on the corner. This DSP is longer than the cutoff itself. So I think we measured what that was 1 1/2 for our cutoff, and then this is like 1 3/4 a piece of paper, so almost 2 inches wide. We want to make sure that you don't see the inside gap that it's carrying over. Then we can go ahead and attach our basic white for the inside. A fun little square. We always have to have a place for us to write on. And just have that lined up as much as you can, center, and have some borders on tops and middle. There we go. Let's go ahead and attach these two pieces, our DSP and our mat. And this one is a little bit trickier because that is a giant hole compared to our pumpkin before. So if you wanted to, you can even go around this image on the mat instead of on the DSP. And because it's a square, it will not matter which direction you place it. I'm using that liquid glue because look, I needed to shimmy it just a little bit. There we go. That looks great. Now we go ahead and attach the rest of this to the card front. I'll put that right about there. Awesome. All right, next we have this giant bumblebee image here. We're going to put that with some liquid glue and attach it. And we're going to get ready to put some dimensionals on our label here. But before we do that, we're going to slide in our pumpkin. And this one we only need adhesive on that one side because we want this other side to be free. So when you flip it over, make sure you're paying attention to the side you're adding the adhesive to. So that one side there, you can put maybe a little bit on your stem, not too much though. And we're going to have it go right over this label and still have some of it look like it's coming over onto our DSP here. Oh, let me get that into view, sorry. There we go. So I've just attached it to that one side and this is all free here. There we go. Grab your dimensionals and put that on the back of our label. And the amount for this one just is a preference. Make sure you have all of your sides covered. And then we're going to go center for this one. It's going to cover up our gold guide just a little bit, and that's fine. And then lastly, we have this awesome pumpkin as well. And for this one, we're using dimensionals, but only on the bottom. So we'll put dimensional there, one a little bit higher up next to it, and one right there. Because we already have dimensionals on that label, we don't need to have it popping up and be uneven. So this will help even out some of that height. And we're going to put that so it's a little bit below where our DSP is, because I love having things show through this one to kind of peek through and look behind it as well. Awesome. And lastly, just your linen thread bow. Grab your glue dot and attach that. Knot to the dot, pinch, and attach. Super easy. Look how awesome that card is. And you open it up to see the inside for a spot for us to write. Love that one. This one was actually inspired by Linda Colin, I think's her name. She's a friend of Tammy White, and they stamp together, and I love watching their videos. Okay, lastly, we have our, I want to say the most difficult, but just the most amount of layers. So you just want to be mindful of this one, and it might actually cost more to ship depending on where you're sending it. Okay, so this is the Cajun Craze card base. And like I said before, it's not my favorite color. So you're probably surprised to see it part of our stamping today, but I just love it for fall. I think it's a great fall color, and with these pumpkins especially, just love the way it looks. Okay, so let's make sure we have all of our pieces we need. Here's our crumb cake is actually for the inside. Let me go ahead and stamp this image here, where will go ahead and stamp something right there on the bottom, and we'll attach that. Sometimes I like to change a card just by having a different inside layer instead of our usual basic white. So that was a quick and easy change there. Grab our Cajun Craze ink and ink up that 3 pumpkin set. Put that on the bottom right corner. And that looks great. Okay. Keep that ink out because we'll use it here in just a second. We have our DSP, these cute little pumpkin cuts out. And then I went ahead and already did our pumpkin, but I'll show you how to do that one with the pieces here. Okay. So this is also for our matting. We'll save that for a second. This is the piece we'll need here. So in your kit, you'll get this piece of very vanilla or basic white, depending on which color you like. You can use this one. I stamped in basic white, and it looks okay. It's definitely more of a crisp background to it. And so if you want yours to be basic white as well, just grab a scrap that you have. Otherwise, use your very vanilla. And we are going to stamp the If Friends Were Pumpkins and our little pumpkin right there. So mine I already have die cut out, and so that's why it's already there, but I will show you how to do that as well. Okay, because if you look closely, it looks very fallish, and it has 2 tones to it. Let's grab our Just Jade ink for our words. And stamp that right there. So we want to make sure we have room for both. So you can go this one at an angle. Like so. Perfect. And then let's grab our pumpkin. And we'll need our Cajun Craze again and our bumblebee. So we are going to ink up this pumpkin in the bumblebee. Just like that. Tap it on all there. Flip it over so it's faced up. Grab a sponge and your Cajun Craze and take it and just dot it on there. We're going to grab some of this ink and we're going to sponge it onto our pumpkin. Just a little bit. This adds the color, and it also uses that sponging technique to it that gives it a different texture even versus just stamping directly on to or inking right onto the stamp. Okay, press down, lift up, and there you have an awesome looking 2-tone, maybe even 3-tone by the way that those overlap, pumpkin. Super, super pretty. I love the way those turned out. And you can use that and play with different colors. So if you want the pumpkin pie instead with the Cajun Craze, you just always want to start with the lightest color first to ink up the whole thing. And then you can sponge on whatever other colors you want as well. Then you would go ahead and take that piece and die cut it out, and it'll look like that when you're done. I'm going to save that part for another card later. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and fussy cut these, our saying. I'm going to first go ahead and separate it from our pumpkin though, so it's easier to work with. And then we're going to go and take this, sorry, we get tangled up, and just work around these letters here. You want to give yourself just a little bit of room. Don't be super close to it. Kind of like a bubble word is what we're creating here. And you want to use the inside of your scissors. So not the very tip. We're going to just cut it from the very inside part. And just little turns of the paper. I'll keep on going. I love this font on this one. It has that mixed fonts, which makes it fun. Almost to the end. It's not too bad. There was no die at all to cut this one out. So this one you would have to cut up no matter what. But totally worth it. Okay, our pieces are ready. So let's go ahead and start assembling. This is our soft, succulent piece of cardstock. And we're going to add our DSP. And the DSP is the same size. But when they're together, it's larger. So you're going to have one will overlap the other, and then we'll cover that overlap with our ribbon. So let's go ahead and add some liquid glue. If I have some left in here, oh, I still have some. Phew. I'm telling you, I am running so low on that adhesive. So I'm going to put this one on first. But it doesn't matter which one you put on first. Just know that how much of a gap you want. Or a border, I should say. It's less than 1/8. It is a tiny, tiny border for this one. And then we'll go down to the bottom and measure, look at there to create that border on both sides. There we go. Next, we attach our ribbon before we attach it to the card base. So we'll flip it over, grab our seal or our Seal Plus, and do a little strip of adhesive. We'll line this up over that where the two DSP meet and tuck this behind it. Look at that. Super easy. If you're concerned, you can always add tear tape and have it attached, but we're going to have so much heavy stuff over this that it will help hold that down just fine. Okay, let's keep on attaching this to our card front, and then we can add all of our details to it. So we'll add this one here. And let's go ahead and attach this one to the inside as well. There we go. All right. Let me grab my bone folder so I can make that just a little bit crispier for us and stay down better. Okay. Next, oh, I closed our our Cajun Craze too quickly. You have that out still and your sponge, grab those two. And we're gonna grab our little pumpkin here. And we're just gonna use the same end and go around it and give it just a little bit of a vintage look to it or some added color. And it's the same color on the same color. So it's not too dark, it matches great. But it adds so much like depth to that. Look at that. Oh, that pumpkin looks awesome now. And you could have done that also to the pumpkin that we had earlier as well, if you wanted to have that kind of that vintage look to it. All right. So next we need to add our linen thread to the back of this guy. You should have a good amount with yours, but let me show you how I get that wrap look to it. So what I like to do is grab it and I take it and I wrap it around my fingers 3 times. For some reason 3 is like the magic number when it comes to linen thread. If you want it a bigger nest, you're welcome to it. I like to do 3 and then kind of pinch it in the center like that to make it look like an 8 or a bow. And that's where they are gathered together. I do usually like to add a little bit of adhesive on that spot that I'm going to attach it to. And then I'll push it down there so that I have some of it coming out the top and some out the bottom. Let's grab our dimensionals. You put a dimensional over that ribbon to help secure it down as well. Sorry, over that linen thread. And we will attach this to our card. And you want to have it just a little bit over our center ribbon there. Cute. And this one, it depends on how you want it to look. I like to have it so it's kind of behind there as well. Next, grab the dimensionals and attach it to this guy. Again, only on the side that will be on the DSP. So I have it flipped over and that's on this right side here. Grab like that. Remove the backings. And we're going to attach it just a little bit below, like that. Next, let's go ahead and add our saying. Again, with the dimensionals. I think you're catching my theme here. They are a must-have to every craft room, and it's one of my favorite gifts to give, which sounds really crazy, but who doesn't love free adhesive when we use adhesive all the time, right? Oh, that's looking so pretty. Okay, so you see that, okay. Lastly, I have these really cute little pumpkin leaves that I have die cut out, and I believe these are in the Just Jade. That's the color that we've used. The fun thing about these dies is that it has like this little hook on it on the top, and so it attaches really nicely to the stem of the pumpkin. So all you really need is just one little piece of glue dot, and I put it on just one side of our leaf, and I'm going to tuck this one around our pumpkin stem and behind it like that. This one I have it a little bit further up, and so you can see how I have it bent up a little bit, and this is further down. So it just depends on where you place your words and your leaves. Let's go ahead and attach this one as well with a glue dot. This one does not attach nearly as nicely because the stem itself isn't the same type of stem on the stamped out image, but we can kind of just set it there, and that looks great. Then we have this last little guy here that if you want to add him to the bottom of your pumpkin, he hooks on nicely there as well. Again, just put a little glue dot to the very tip of this one because we want to be able to attach it on the paper for front and back. Let's see if we can get that one to, there we go. Kind of snug in there. Love it, look at that. Oh my goodness. Great, great layers. Love this one. Okay, lastly, you should have some of these metallic gold pearls in yours and just use them and go crazy to embellish. Add them in sets of odds. So I like to do 2 on one spot and 1 all by itself. And there you go. We have this beautiful, super layered, pretty pumpkin card. All right, so there's that one. Then we had this Misty Moonlight Fun Fold. That's great as well. And our Hangover DSP card with that beautiful pumpkins. This one was pretty easy. And lastly, our super simple one that used the stamped images for the background, and then those dies just did all of our work for us. And we even went ahead and embossed our cute little pumpkin. All right, ladies, I hope you've had a great time watching this today and that you've learned something new that you didn't know before. Have a great, great month, and I can't wait to see you again next month for our next team kit. Happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.